Hello, bookworms. Welcome back to the Bonafide Bookworm. I'm your host, Rachel, and if you're here to read along with me and improve your English. I don't have any updates today. I have totally failed in finishing Practical Magic. I have like this much left of it, and I just haven't had any time to sit down to actually read it. So, um, hopefully, I can get that read before Thursday so I can give y'all an update on it. As far as our book, we are reading Saving Sadie by Joal, Derse, Dauer with Elizabeth Ridley. And when we left off, Joel had decided to give Sadie a week to see if she would do better and see how she coped with, getting healed up and stuff like that. So, gosh, there are some squeaky tires. I hope y'all can't hear that. So that's where we are. That's where we've left off. So we're picking up on page 52 at the top. That night was a rough one. Following a day that had been the most exhausting so far, between the feedings, the 45-minute sessions to fill her with her medicine and supplements, the countless trips outside to empty her bladder, and the ongoing diaper changes. Now it was nearly midnight and Sadie just wouldn't settle. I let her sleep in a dog bed on the floor beside my bed so I'd be close in case she needed anything. Sparky, Miss Kitty, and Kit Kat all slept in the bed beside me, so there wasn't room for Sadie too. Not to mention, I worried that without the full use of her legs, if Sadie were on the bed and got scared or panicked in the night, she might roll off, further injuring herself. Sadie had been whining on and off for almost an hour, and I was at my wit's end, having no idea how to help her. "Sadie, what is going on?" I asked in exasperation as I lay flat on my back, staring up at the canopy atop my four-poster bed. Sadie kept nipping at her own backside and rolling her upper body back and forth as if struggling to get comfortable. Too frustrated to deal with this any longer, I climbed out of bed and knelt down beside her on the floor. "What is it, girl?" I asked softly, stroking her head and rubbing behind her ears. Her tail swished, and she let out a low, pitiful moan. As she nosed around her own abdomen, nudging and whining, it occurred to me that she might be missing her lost puppies, the ones she delivered shortly before she'd been shot. Instantly, my heart ached for her, for the sorrow and loss she struggled to express. "Sadie, I know you miss your babies. How fiercely you must have loved them." I imagined Sadie had been a natural-born mom, nursing and snuggling a litter of 5 or 6 wiggly little black and tan bundles of joy, bathing them with her tongue until their fur shone, nudging them closer together for warmth, lifting them carefully in her mouth, and gently reprimanding them when they misbehaved. Had she even had time to wean them, I wondered. Or, I thought darkly, had she just weaned them, and that was why she was marked for execution? Having dutifully provided the required litter of healthy puppies, perhaps destined for the evil puppy mills, was she then shot because the puppies were ready for sale, and hence Sadie was no longer considered useful? At roughly 4 years old, Sadie might have birthed multiple litters in her lifetime. Perhaps all her babies had been taken away from her, one by one by one. "Sadie, I wish I could tell you that all your babies are okay, that they have all gone to good homes where they are loved and cherished and cared for." As a mom myself, I understood that a mother's love, the maternal instinct, is one of the most primal and most powerful forces on earth. My 2 daughters meant everything to me. I would gladly lay down my life for them. I could only imagine the fear, loss, and loneliness that Sadie must be feeling, having her babies cruelly snatched away from her. Sadie seemed to relax a bit, lowering her guard and responding to my soft words and gentle petting. "Sadie, you are broken. You are wounded in so many more ways than just those that we can see with our eyes," I told her. "You deserve so much better than what humans have shown you so far." For the first time, it occurred to me that maybe it was Sadie's heart, even more so than her body, that truly needed healing. Sobered by this realization, I helped Sadie settle, then covered her with a blanket and climbed back into bed. I was just starting to nod off when I heard Sadie grab the blanket between her teeth, shake it, then toss it to the side. I knew she'd get cold later on, so I got out of bed and recovered her with the blanket, tucking it around her body on top of the dog bed to keep her warm and protected. No sooner had I gotten myself back into bed and settled than she did it again, wrestling away the blanket and whisking it off to the side. Sadie, I said through gritted teeth as I went to cover her yet again. This is getting really annoying. This continued a couple of times until suddenly it occurred to me. She's playing a game, and she wants me to play with her. Could it be that Sadie has a sense of humor? Sure enough, as soon as I agreed to play with her, the rules of the game became clear. She wanted me to cover her, then she would toss the blanket off herself, and then it was my turn to cover her again. Her tail wagged more dramatically than I had ever seen it wag before as we played the game, and soon Sparky, Kit Kat, and Miss Kitty were joining in, pulling the blanket, crawling beneath it, snagging it with their paws, and battling not to miss out on all the fun. I laughed until tears, happy tears, streamed down my face. I was amazed to realize that the first time I cried for Sadie, my tears rose not from sorrow, but from joy. I paused to catch my breath. Sadie, you are inside there somewhere, even if I can't always see you, or if your spirit isn't always on show. Any dog with this much personality is nowhere near ready to be put down. Still on the floor, I crossed my legs and cupped Sadie's chin in my hand, peering steadily into her eyes. Sadie, I know that you understand me, and I believe that you want to get better and walk again. To be honest, I think we have a really rough road ahead of us. I can't make any long-term promises, but let's give it another month, okay? Forget the 7 days. Let's see what we can accomplish together by the end of May. What do you think about that, girl? She wagged her tail and panted, and I swear she had a mischievous glint in her eye as she grabbed the blanket between her teeth once more and whisked it triumphantly over her shoulders with a low, teasing growl, followed by a sigh that sounded suspiciously like satisfaction. As all 5 of us settled in for what would prove to be our first decent night's sleep in several days. I had no idea what the next month would bring. After all, this was still a dog with overwhelming special needs. But I closed my eyes, feeling confident and fully committed to giving Sadie the best second chance on the planet. Chapter 3, Project Saving Sadie. And here we have a picture of Sadie and I assume Joel. Let's see if it says on that other page. Yeah, I guess that's Joel. On a little trampoline, helping her stabilize. Chapter 3, page 58. When I woke the next morning, my heart was pounding and my mind racing as I bubbled over with excitement, optimism, and big, ambitious plans for getting Sadie walking again. We can do this. Hope, faith, and determination can make this happen. My first cup of coffee was still full to the brim and steaming with a luscious hazelnut aroma as I parked myself at the kitchen table, notepad and pen in hand. Although not yet 7 a.m., Sadie had already had her breakfast, her medicine and supplements, her first outdoor bathroom break of the day, and treatment on her forehead and back paw. She was swaddled in a fresh diaper, tail poking through, and curled up at my feet, chin resting contentedly on her front paws. Okay, girl, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. We've got a month to get you walking again, and it's going to take 100% commitment on both our parts to make this happen. Sadie looked up at me and cocked her head quizzically. I took that as a sign of agreement, or else it meant she thought I was crazy, which I probably was. I couldn't be sure, so I assumed the best. I scribbled a quick list of all the things I would need to do as I dove headfirst into Project Saving Sadie. Call Marnette, call shelter, follow-up appointment, arrange Sadie treatments and therapies with Dr. Jody, dog sitter while at work, contact Think Positive regarding swimming, enlist help of friends and family, set up website, Facebook page, social media to share Sadie news, Sadie savings / checking account at bank or credit union, arrange meet and greets with Sadie for potential donors / supporters. Some quick figuring showed that it would likely take somewhere in the region of $3,000 a month to pay for Sadie's medicine, supplements, treatments, therapy, and other care. $3,000. My spirits tumbled, and the optimism with which I had begun the day immediately evaporated. It was one thing to have the will to help Sadie, but it was a very different thing to have, or to find, the resources to actually make it happen. How in the world would I come up with $3,000 a month in and month out, for as long as it took to get Sadie fully rehabilitated? I have been enjoying a successful career as a transitional organization specialist for several years. But like many independent contractors and small business owners, the combination of an unpredictable work schedule, taxes, expenses, and lack of benefits meant there wasn't much left over at the end of the month, and certainly not $3,000. I was prepared to ask family and friends for help, but realistically, there would be a limit to how much and how frequently they would be willing to contribute. For this utterly crazy plan to work, I would need to solicit funds from total strangers, a thought that made me deeply uncomfortable. But one look at Sadie curled up at my feet reminded me that I wouldn't be asking for myself. I was asking on behalf of Sadie. Maybe if I framed the message by saying, I found this poor dog and here's how we're trying to help her, that would make the need more real and more concrete for people, and they would be inspired to contribute. I believe that people are generally good-hearted and want to help. Often they just don't know what to do. Maybe if people were touched by Sadie's story, they would offer support. But $3,000 a month worth of support? That thought was overwhelming, but I had to at least give it a try. I reached down and stroked Sadie's head. When she looked up at me with her kind, patient, trusting eyes and feebly wagged her tail, I felt confident that any efforts on her behalf would be worth it. I put on my best happy voice as I phoned Marnette and told her that I had come to a decision and was going to give Sadie another month to show some serious improvement. "Oh, Joel, that's wonderful," she exclaimed when I shared the news. "If anyone can make this work, you can." "But it's going to cost a fortune," I added quickly, hoping not to dampen her mood. "Maybe $3,000 a month. I don't know where I'll come up with that kind of money." "Don't worry, I'll do everything I can to help," she promised. "I already have a few people in mind who can help us raise funds online. I'll reach out to them and everyone else I can possibly think of. When people hear Sadie's story, they'll want to help." I deeply appreciated Marnette's support, knowing that she had a full-time job and other commitments and lived hundreds of miles away, and yet I felt confident she would be our best partner and resource, always going the extra mile. I realized with a start that Marnette was falling in love with Sadie, even though they had yet to meet in person. I was reminded again of how blessed I was to have such a sister. "Okay, so we've got Dr. Jody and we've got Marnette," I told Sadie. "That's a start. The first 2 official members of Team Sadie are firmly on board." After speaking to Marnette, my next call was to the shelter in Kenosha, letting them know that I was ready to begin the paperwork to make Sadie's adoption official. Not after 1 week or 1 month, but immediately. In my mind, I was not yet Sadie's forever mom, and I was still keeping a part of my heart separate and unreachable, not willing to endure the potential heartbreak of letting myself fall in love. There was still a real possibility that if we weren't able to rehab Sadie and get her walking again, the kindest thing would be to have her euthanized. I had made a promise, both to her and to myself, that Sadie would never go back to a shelter to live out the rest of her days in a drafty basement, locked in a cold metal cage, incontinent and unable to walk, scared, lonely, and bereft of human love. Either this plan would work, or I would make the compassionate choice to let Sadie go and find her freedom beyond the Rainbow Bridge. And the only way I'd be free to make that agonizing decision was by first making Sadie's adoption official, so I would have the final say over those tough choices. And we're going to stop there because there's just a natural page break there. So we're at page 62. So we'll pick back up on Thursday. And I just remembered I was supposed to look up the thing about the states and laws, like, you know, how do they prosecute against animal cruelty and all that. I'm going to try to make myself another note to look that stuff up. Got to get that done. Got to finish reading Practical Magic. And other than that, that's all I got. I hope y'all have a great day. Wherever you're at, I hope it's a great day, week, month, year. And I hope you come back. Bye.